going to walk towards the camera because I just want to feel like I'm doing something serious, you know? Hi everyone, my name is Nene Folorunsho. Welcome to my channel. I am super excited to have you here. Let me check out my fits first. Okay, not looking bad. Um, I welcome you to my channel. On my channel, I talk about a bunch of things. I talk about travel. I talk about my life as a mom. I talk about not controversial subjects, but I try to have tough conversations that people would typically avoid. Today, I want to talk about something. I saw a video by Pastor Iren, I think he's called. I think that's how it's pronounced. And I want you to watch the video. Let's watch it together.
One thing you must master is bravery, especially if you grew up in an African home. There is a type of training we call home training that is a school in intimidation and timidity. They have beaten away your curiosity when you asked honest questions and you were flogged for it. When they gave you instructions and you asked why, I just want to understand why. And they said, don't ask me. Those are things you have to unlearn to be a success in life. You cannot be a success if you're not curious. Even the things you pay for, you'll be cheated if you don't demand accountability. No, I don't like it like this. Take it back. Do you know not everybody can demand that kind of accountability? Learn to speak up for yourself. Some of you are in relationships now that should break. The reason the relationship is still lingering, you don't know how to talk. Let me tell you something. Not only in this relationship, in many other things in life, you'll be in trouble. You must learn to speak up for yourself. Practice it. It is something you get better at. If you don't learn it, you will be a bad spouse. Because have you seen spouses that you can't have difficult conversations with? They want to escape. Sit and have it's difficult, but you negotiate your way out. Don't avoid confrontation. In fact, someone said it's one of the ways to raise children. Teach them to sit down and discuss things they don't agree with you on. To raise anybody who will be a valuable contributor in society, they must learn to stand out and not play to the bandwagon.
See, I want to do drop mic, but my phone is my microphone. My phone is my mic. If not, I would have dropped it right here because what's that? Okay, so that video really hit me, and I wanted to just share a few things. One is, I totally agree with what he's saying. I think that growing up in an African home has a way of making you timid. You're very afraid to speak up. Now, I have a different experience because my dad really helped spark my curiosity. It was okay for me to ask why, because when I asked why, my dad answered. And the times where he did not know the why, he would actually admit, like, I actually don't know why we do this way, and he'll be honest. And there were things that, just out of general curiosity, things that I didn't know that I would ask him. He would make it an assignment and both of us would go back and we'll research it and we'll learn about it. But especially when it came to like rules and, the way Nigerian parents would say, don't do this. And when you ask them, they will say, because I said so. Of which that you even daring to ask why will probably come with a spank. You might get spanked for asking why. But I had different dynamics growing up. Like if I asked why when my dad was bringing up a rule, especially like out of the blues, you just say don't do this. Why? And my dad would tell me why. He would explain why, and it would make sense. And sometimes it won't make sense, but he would explain why. He did not shut me down. Do you know what that did for me? That gave me audacity. It made me bold. It made me bold enough to question things that did not make sense. So again, I agree with what he's saying, because people get stuck in relationships, situationships where they cannot question stuff. I grew up questioning stuff. Now the problem I faced with that was I thought that this was very normal. So imagine me as a teenager going to boarding school in Nigeria and going to question stuff. I looked like I was losing my mind. I was always getting into trouble. I looked like I was very rude. I looked like I was rebellious. But we had hostel mistresses and hostel masters and people that would just dump stuff on you and just throw these rules and regulations at you without any backstory, without any justification, and I cannot ask why. Why can't I ask why? And I would get in trouble. Now the problem is my dad had passed on by that time, so I didn't have anyone to rescue me or to help me understand that every that in the outside world, people are uncomfortable with you asking questions. So that really threw me off. But I kept at it because that's how I grew up. I grew up asking questions. And I believe that it's very important for us as parents to be able to explain things to our kids. We don't just throw stuff down their throats. Explain the why. And if you don't know the why, you go and find out why you're making that rule or that policy in that house. Do you have to explain everything to your child? No. There's some things that we do just because we know best and we're parents. But for the most part, try to offer explanations. Try to, even when they just ask you simple questions, you see that some people don't just want to have simple conversations, they're uncomfortable. Why are we so uncomfortable with uncomfortable conversations? And again, like he said, this is why people go into relationships and they're not able to have difficult conversations. They just have conversations on the surface. And then after a while, everything is falling apart because they were so avoidant of the tough conversations that they were meant to have in the first place. I think this generation, I think that we need to unlearn that timidity, that fear, that thing where you're in spaces where you're not appreciated, where you're in spaces where you are undervalued, and we cannot speak up because we are afraid of how we're going to be perceived. We are afraid of consequences. We are afraid of being punished. You're an adult. Unlearn it. Speak up. Nobody's going to beat you. It might be uncomfortable. People might look at you like you're weird, but it might also bring results. So why are you dying in silence, keeping quiet, avoiding the tough conversation? Teach your children how to have difficult conversations. It's okay if your kids ask you why. Maybe how they ask the why matters because you don't want your kids to be rude, but it's okay if they ask why. If it's okay if they ask, how did we get here? What led to you for making this decision? It's okay. Some people say we are over-explaining to our kids in this generation. Are we? I don't think so. I think it's mutual respect. And personally, I felt, when I think of my dad, I think of him as someone that really loved me, but also as someone that respected me as a child. He saw that my voice mattered, and if my voice mattered to him when I was 7, when I was 8, then as a 38-year-old today, my voice matters. So if I could not be shut down when I was 7, I definitely cannot be shut down now, So the boldness that puts in your child and the audacity, we need it in our world today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow me for more conversations like this.